Now we are welcome, Sonia. Dear students, as I mentioned before, as part of our emerging technologies unit, it is my practice every term to invite industry speakers to provide in the subject matter some practical examples about the topic. Today we cover in the first hour, as you know, conversational AI. So I requested Sonia Rashid from IBM worker. Today she's also working in other company as a senior executive. Basically, I will provide now I will share with you very briefly to introduce her. Then she can talk more about her experience as well as providing presentation about emerging technology, especially conversation AI. This could take about half an hour. After that, there could be question and answer section. Please welcome Sonia Rashid.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I can't be in the room, and sorry we all can't be in the room. It would have been so much nicer.
Okay. Now, very briefly, Sonia has over 25 years experience in business transformation and cognitive consulting. Through her career with PwC, IBM until I think August 2020, and now Pega Systems. Sonia engaged with clients to utilize AI, artificial intelligence, and CRM technologies to successfully innovate, improve operational efficiency, manage risk, and improve customer engagement. Sonia worked as an IBM associate partner, focused on the cognitive and analytic solutions within IBM services, and has extensive experience in delivering complex programs with multiple projects with clients across industries, with special focus on telco and energy and utilities, financial services, distribution, and so on. Within Pega, as a consultant solution executive, Sonia continues to showcase how Pega applications can assist clients in the areas of customer management, artificial intelligence, analytics, and automation. Please welcome again, Sonia Rashid. And now over to you, Sonia. You can talk what you want to say.
Thank you, Professor. So thank you everyone for joining today. I guess this slide just gives a bit of an overview of some of my key client engagements, and some of those clients have been, as you know, quite large organisations within Australia and New Zealand. So, you know, in the immediate, what I've looked at is really how can AI and automation improve the lives of our business users and therefore the lives of the customers. So some of the large organisations I dealt with, for example, Rio Tinto, Westpac, New South Wales Police and Sydney Water, you know, have a direct relationship also with us, right, as consumers. And so I found that quite invigorating to see how we can make a step change that can not only help the organisations engage their customers and end users, but at the end of the day can help us. So what I want to go through today, because the professor had mentioned you covered off conversation AI, so sort of narrowing the field across the breadth of emerging technologies, I thought I'd share. So let me just bring up my deck. Oh, actually, Professor, do you want to stop sharing? And then I can.
I will stop. Yeah. You can start. Yes.
Okay. And what I'll cover off is some of the specific examples. And we can have a Q&A session at the end. Now, let me just see how we do this. So let me just bring my slide deck to. Can you now see my slide deck?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Great, great. Okay, just hide that away. Great. So having been with IBM for 17 years and before that consulting with PwC and now with Pega, it was interesting thinking what did I want to present as I come into this discussion. So what I've selected is focus around the Pega Intelligent Virtual Assistant. And if we have time, I can also show you some case studies and some, I guess, examples of what IBM has also done in the area of virtual assistant, and we can, seeing how we go. So if everyone can see it, let me just fix the mode. Okay, never mind, that's fine. So as you can see, we all know that virtual agents, already is a key contributor in the way we interact with businesses. And we've seen that increase over the last 5 to 10 years. And I think there's nothing new from all our experiences in that. And, as we all know, we all have, Facebook Messenger. A lot of us would have Google Home or Alexa, and we're already interacting on a regular basis to communicate with friends and family. That's becoming even wider now within our businesses and what they expect how they expect to deliver services to consumers and what we as consumers expect. So what we've already found is like 70% of consumers will always choose messaging over calling. And if you look at yourselves, I imagine you're the same. I hardly ever want to ring, God forbid, a call centre unless I really have to. And I look for other ways to get around them, but sometimes it's just too hard, or the other channels just aren't clear. So, we get stuck with having to do that. And also, we also find our expectations as consumers are that we want, real-time quick responses, none of the delays that traditionally 5-10 years ago, would happen. And in America, specific statistics is that messaging apps each day, 5 times longer than voice calls. So we're just always communicating over the different multiple channels, and our text messages exchanged, as you guys know, by millennials every day is like huge numbers into the millions. So as we know that we've already got a complex environment, we at a personal level already have such expectations of how we can communicate and so many different ways. Viber is very popular in Asia and Japan, Facebook Messenger very much so in Australia and New Zealand, and we're just seeing this just increase and increase over time, right? Suddenly looking at smart devices, how fast can we get the information and how quickly can action be taken? It's become critical for us. So just to give a sense, like we're looking at some of the numbers, so WhatsApp over 1 billion users, Facebook Messenger similar, web chat, huge number, and Viber, and as I mentioned, Viber is very large in Japan as well. So with those sort of statistics, what you can imagine has happened is that customers are being reached out on a regular basis through multiple channels. And I think my personal experience also is if I get a message from a friend, it's like, was it through the messenger? Was it SMS? Was it through the WhatsApp group? Who knows? It could be any of the 4 or 5 social media channels I have personally. And then when we're dealing with organisations, we expect, again, a fast, easy way to communicate and not be on a phone call for hours on end. So that's quite an interesting view. It's 2016 to 2020. If you just look at the volumes, incredible. And so now as we sort of move forward, we start seeing that, 55% of consumers report using more than one channel to resolve an issue. Yep, I think we're all in that sort of boat. And 76% globally have stopped doing business with a brand or organisation due to poor customer experience. That's definitely in how we deal with our healthcare providers, how we deal with our professional organisations that are providing other services to us. If they can't engage us in that first call or the first message, we do lose interest, right? And 91% of unhappy customers and non-complainers will just simply leave. So, we'll just act with our feet and go elsewhere. So with that sort of mindset, if you can imagine how complex it is that organisations are trying to avoid being siloed. So like a large bank in Sydney that I worked with last year, they had different teams that looked after email and then web and then mobile, and the way that they went through how they interacted with their customers, as you can imagine, the customer experience would be different. So a lot of the focus needs to be on how do we make that seamless, that the omni-channel is something, regardless of whether I'm on an email or a web or on my mobile device, I should be able to talk to my bank and get the information I need very seamlessly. So some of the expectations, we find, so from a customer perspective, we're finally getting onto an agent and we're trying to get information. Even from the agent perspective, if you think, they have a constant pressure to provide a quality interaction fast to us as well, and the ability to answer the right question, at the right time, and being consistent across all the channels, and they need to be up to date with new product information. So how, as an organisation, can companies make sure that all their agents provide that level of clarity? And hence we have some of the agent assessments, some of those other capabilities, which really focus on making sure that that knowledge that is required to support agents' responsiveness is put to them in the most easily consumable way, and is intelligent enough to be guided by the context of which that session that agent is in, and ideally even putting forward something that would actually allow the agent to say, oh, while we're doing this change, did you want to look at this as well? So all of that journey in that discussion and conversation with a consumer can be supported and even directed based on the technology and the tools the agent has at their fingertips. So, what's the vision that we want? The vision for exceptional customer care through the intelligent workflow is a seamless human touch, so very easy regardless of the channel of choice, 24/7. Digital service with human assist is great. Empowered customer care agents, so agents who can quickly find the right information and be as supportive and responsive as possible, and really be seen as a single view of trusted customer data and customer information across every interaction. And then at the next level, even proactively and personalize options for you within the context of that discussion with their consumers. And so personalized communications in the moments that matter, is the preferred in the engagement model. Nothing's moving for some reason. It's doing so well. What happened? Okay. So business imperatives. So I want to just add in a few more slides just around, how do we make sure that our customers are engaged and delighted? And some of the, things that we've learned is how connecting with customers as they please. So we talked about the multi-channels, natural interactions. So, and the reason this is interesting as well is there's a whole new skill set and job skill being sought around linguistics, around conversation analysts. So people who understand what's a natural way to converse, and therefore how do you mimic that conversation, learn from it, and get to the exact intent faster and quicker, such that the automation, the AI can respond effectively. So these sort of solutions really focus on, natural conversations and prior interactions. They use historical knowledge and context around the customer, and the whole intent is that it provides content that will then be obviously protected and secure and relevant, but more, worthwhile in that interaction. So then, exciting for the employees. So, we've talked a lot around customers, and we've touched on Agents Assist. I just want to round that off and think about an organisation, and I think that's quite a cool picture of just people, pre-COVID days obviously, people actually working, collaboratively, with each other, so between agents, and also with they're being augmented by machines. So where work can just be done easily, and a conversation or a question can be answered quickly, just imagine that's being done automatically. So these agents aren't having to answer the rudimentary. It suddenly gives more joy in the day-to-day activities, and they're actually engaging on questions or challenges that are more interesting for them. So we start moving into an improved environment where, humans are being involved for the thought processes and problem solving. and some of the mundane is being taken care of. So now getting into a bit more of technology. So the example technical suite I wanted to take you through is Pega Intelligent Virtual Assist. And, you know, it's got some key features here, and happy, I'll share some of these decks actually, or the links with the professor later. So if you're interested to actually go in, a lot of them have, you know, free trials and demos and samples online. So if you want to delve a bit more into the technical detail of how do they do something, like a lot available in Pega Academy, IBM Academy, and, you know, similarly with other organisations. So just touching on these. So multi-channel readiness, we touched on that already previously, how important it is, but, you know, the key is it comes with pre-built connectors to email, SMS, text, Facebook Messenger, Amazon, Alexa. We have integrated bot simulation. So how do you quickly build, collaborate and deliver intelligent assistants fast? And, you know, Pega's, you know, fantastic at how it can just plug and play with its development environment. I've actually been myself on very much hands-on technical courses to make sure I understand what I'm trying to talk to my clients about, and very, very easy to use, and develop automation as well as case management and customer management analytics as well. And finally, actually on the customer management, marketing and sales, it's all a very unified platform. So once you've built something on it, you can then extend it out very easily, whether it becomes for marketing, sales, or customer service. So one of the examples, and here I wanted to actually show a quick video. Now hopefully we won't have any tech issues. Let me just see if I can hopefully do that quickly. Let me see if, okay. Professor, let me know if there's any volume issues on it. Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah, we can see, yeah.
Yeah, we can see.
Great.
This case, in this case, channel, it would be service revenue. So instead, and as I say, this is where so yes, what I'm here to talk about is people. But we also want to take okay. Look at my Facebook account and hashtag. What's that? And this is which can be also these are we know the data just that they were here additional interface. These responses, but I would say here which is technically this is just one of the many we can take this conversation again. Thank you.
And on this website, which I'll show you the link as well, There's actually a lot of interesting other videos around how we've implemented virtual assistant really easily and fast, especially from a developer point of view. And also, you can actually download and have some free trials on some of it. So if you want to get your hands dirty. The other example, which I'll cover in the slides as well. So let me just flick back to that and see if we can see that quickly. So that example I won't then talk about was really a way of showing how interactive and asynchronous was the conversation between the consultant and the consumer. And as you can imagine, and you've probably seen that in real life already, you know, there's multiple ways that we can use that in day-to-day resolutions of issues. So another large client is Vodafone UK, and where we've done some help around their call centre around technical difficulties that customers might ring up for. And again, you'd be able to give photos, you could have conversations about certain troubleshooting, and then actually, if an issue can't be resolved, you could actually then organise a repair or a service person to come out on site. And so I think both of those examples, you know, really focus on how we can use it for day-to-day interactions with our call centre. Now, the next one to touch on was emails. So as we know, organisations still use a large amount of emails. That's not being avoided by having these other multi-channel approaches. And, you know, it continues to increase, and they're expected to rise to something like 4 billion in 2021. Crazy numbers. And so if you can imagine, a lot of organisations struggle a lot with that inflow of email and making sure that the emails have then been triaged properly, routed properly, and then responded to accurately. Similarly, a bank I was working with last year, they have a team of 8 people that sit there day to day, read emails and route them to the right part of the organisation. And these are large organisations which have a huge inflow of these sort of emails. So it was quite interesting that we were still having that discussion, you know, late 2019 on how to better improve email triage. It may actually seem simple, actually, at a high level, that's sure, based on the intent of the conversation or the email header or the content, you can probably redirect it. The challenges lie not only in the complexity of that intent, where people may actually email with multiple issues, with privacy of data, so whether they've actually provided private information that therefore needs to go through a special type of treatment, or thirdly, whether they've actually had attachments. And so then what is the intent of the attachment, and where, you know, you put in a change of address form and you attach some other document implying maybe a council rate or something. Like, all of this becomes all very then complex to understand. So there's some of the challenges in it, but regardless of that, what else is doing something funny? Anyway, regardless of that, you know, Pega email bot has something very similar, which can really use NLP, natural language processing, basically a form of AI, to decide the best way to handle the email content, and to also provide a level of self-service, so there can be a response actually back to the customer fast, and have some interaction before it actually needs to go to human for resolution. If we have time, I can quickly show that demo as well, because I found that one quite interesting to watch. Let me just play that video. Oh, let me just go back a bit.
Channels such as email. Those requests are often processed by a person, which is time-consuming. Or virtual assistants, artificial intelligence, and robots can help. Our customer, Joe, sent an email to his bank to add his wife to the Pega's intelligent virtual assistant for email. Artificial intelligence and natural language really intelligently suggested first time to the customer. She chooses one of the predicted case types and notices that the system has automatic complex data, but it's also made corrections so that it works. Emily now completes triage by to old legacy systems to manual updating. Now in edit mode, this process is enhanced using artificial intelligence. All of the channels in which you will send through the virtual assistant for email channel, privileges of the application at any switch to type add new user, automatically bypass triage, create a to a worker. Let's return to our customer as he sends in a number. This time we can see that we've completely bypassed heavily the triage worker and run this case directly to Jane for processing. Of course, Jane still has to update this legacy system, but that's expensive and it's not very efficient. They can help you sync to the robots. Open definition for adding a user. We see the add user to account step. Let's replace that with a robot. This robotic automation operates with instruction, interfacing with legacy systems, just like a person. Now, let's go back to our customer one more time. To add robots pick those up, launch multiple thick columns, green screen, and enter data, and complete the work of adding users to our customer. Details of one of those robots shows that imagine being a customer and before standing up, you receive an email response.
There we go. So I think that gives you a bit of a snippet of really how email bot, as well as automation, and as well as AI can sort of really overlay and be something that, as they say, breathes life into traditional channels. I found that one quite interesting because it also gave you a bit of a look into see how Pega works. And literally those case designer screens are as simple as that. And you can quickly drag and drop and build out logic. I've done automation bots as well in there for address logic, for example. One of the scenarios we were talking with once a client was, I'd love to be able to know every time I receive a complaint or an email complaint from a customer saying my ATM was really dirty. And knowing the location of that ATM, knowing that that email came through for us to be able to respond, nearly real time and say, oh, apologies for that. We'll send someone out to clean it, and here's a, a $20 voucher for you to get a coffee from the local coffee store there. And that gives you the idea of the vision that our clients have, that they want to make it so responsive to their end consumer and be seen as being proactive and eager, which will help obviously with NPS and customer retention, right? So then just to come to some of the, bit of the fun stuff around industry-leading enterprises, but more from an angle of mobile development platforms. I mean, I know some of you will be hands-on potentially building these type of environments, so you can see a bit of a view of what really professional and citizen developers believe of what's top in the market. This is of June 2017. So, and then the other thing I was going to mention, and I said on that link you can have a look at free trials and things like that, but the key was the fast and efficiency of building these things, and really the ROI that we expect our customers will gain. And so as developers in that community, or as people that are maybe working in the environment where you're explaining to a business of the benefit of this type of technology, it's always around how quickly can business value be provided for any technology implementation, and how readily can that investment be paid back. That, I guess that's the key, right? So there are some links as well here that I mentioned I'd share. I have a couple more demos as well around how you can actually build things, but I think the key was just to cover off a bit around that functionality and talk a bit about case studies. So the UK one and the COVID response, I've got links available that it's all on YouTube, so all publicly available, so you can have a look as well. Was there any questions at the moment then, Professor, or from the team? Or anything further you'd like me to go into?
Thank you.
sort of
Sonia.
pretty much in half an hour.
I think there could be some questions. If you have any question, you can ask one by one, please.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Ergun.
Hello.
Sorry, Sonia. Maybe if you want, you can remove another sharing.
Let me.
You can stop the share.
There we go. Oh, okay, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
No, if you stop the share, we can see everyone. Okay, yes, okay, now it's good.
Yes, great.
Okay, so if anyone has any question, please.
Yes, ma'am. What
Yes,
are all the
Mahendra.
skills that expecting from a company, from a student?
So if I understand your question, so if a new graduate was to look for an opportunity, yes, within these companies, right? Yes. So I think there's a couple of key things that we look at, and whether that's really IBM or Pega or PwC, it's very similar. And I've done recruitment for graduates into our organisations and other senior level resources as well. So I think there's a couple of things. One is obviously technical skill. So having a strong bachelor's, master's degree in IT, computer science, or analytics, or depending on your area of, field of expertise, having some good foundational skills there is key, obviously. But then I think the second is a lot of it is in the soft approaches as well. And what I mean by that is in how you demonstrate that you understand you're here to solve a business problem. So it doesn't mean that you need to know all the business pain points of an industry, no. But it means to have a certain mindset that the reason you would do a technical implementation, whether it be a chatbot, a virtual agent, an AI tool or anything, is because you're trying to support that business or that customer, and you have a good understanding of what might be the business value of that implementation and how you expect an organisation will reap rewards from implementing something like this. So whether it be a headcount improvement, an NPS scoring improvement, or some other measure, some other KPI within the organisation. I think having a business view of that helps very much, especially as part of consulting and technology firms nowadays. So you have your strong technical capability, which you've built and been educated on, earned. And secondly, you've had the softer skills of understanding the why. And I think if you can invest in those two really well, when you come to those interviews and the question answer scenarios, I think you'll be able to really help showcase your ability to understand a business problem and respond with a technical solution towards that business problem with the intent that the business will gain value and ROI on it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, that helps. Thank you very much.
Right. You're welcome. Was there anything else anyone wanted to ask?
Any other questions? Anyone? No question? Yes, I think Haridip, do you have a question?
No, sir, I'm clear. Thank you.
Well, I'm off the hook then, Professor. So all good. Everything made sense.
May I ask a question?
Of course, Sachini, yes.
For communication AI, what is kind of technical challenges your team or your company been facing of, or what is next level technical enhancement is coming up?
I don't know if I quite got that, Professor. Or can you say that again, please, Sachini? What sort of?
Sorry, I think I got. Can you hear me?
Yes, that's a bit better. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. what is the main challenges when technical challenges when we are in the technical side challenges for conversational AI when developing and what
Yeah.
problem?
Yes, I think I got that then. Thank you. So, so some of the challenges that we find when we're developing or implementing a solution using conversational AI, right? So there's probably two key ones. One is if you imagine when you're first working with the business that have only ever had humans respond to queries, you are relying on a lot of historical information to be able to identify what are the key intents that you would actually be establishing as part of the project. So one of the challenges is knowing whether we've got historical data, whether we've got records of FAQs, we've got records of conversations that agents have had with their customers to really identify that set of 10, 20, 50 intents that we want to then work on. And what area do we want to even work on? Is it part of email complaints, for example? Is it in response to home loan applications that you want to be able to do online? Or is it around getting some details about your NRMA insurance quote? So it can be so varied, right? And so for a particular organization within a particular department, what is it that we want the agents to be able to be hands-off on and be automated? So that area of identification is key. And then secondly, once we've implemented a very simple, complex, regardless, conversational AI setup, and I'm thinking of a specific case here, we then have to monitor what has been the success rate. So have people been coming on? Let's say it's a chatbot on the screen. Have people been engaging with them and then just dropping off? Have they been dropping off at certain points? Why did they leave, and did they actually finish a transaction to a certain point? So all of that information means that we want to be able to do some analytics on that conversation. And that's a really key outcome as well, that do we have some strong analytics for the operations and operational teams and the new or existing operating model? Because as you imagine, an organization that's moved from just humans in a room to agents in a room augmented with machines responding needs a management structure that traverses both. How has the human interactions been going? How has the machine interactions been going? And then when you get into a sophisticated operating model, and this might be something the professor covers in the future, is that you have robots or bots managing bots, so they all group up, and then you have human managers managing humans and bots, the manager bot. And based on that hierarchy, it's really important that you can have the right analytics to showcase where drop-offs might be more obvious and therefore the intents aren't quite right, where your completion rate and success rate is not as high as you would have hoped, because then you can go in and look at it and actually tweak it. So I think they're the key two challenges. One is identifying where we should focus, and the second is having the analytics at the right spots to make sure the operating model and the operationalization of these infrastructure, these bots, is actually working, because then only can you really measure the success. Does that answer your question, Sachini?
Yes, it answered. Thank you, ma'am. May I ask another question about in
Sure.
the second topic? You said that you analyze communication is transaction successful or not. Does not successful transaction, do you use to learn them AI for itself? It's learning from the current gen to next gen. It's learning from its failure. Sorry, I don't know it's related or not, but
I'm not sure I understood that one, Sachini. Can you say that again?
I will put in the chat. I think I
Okay.
got it.
Okay, that'd be perfect. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. And anyone else that wants to just ask some questions through chat as well, feel free to do that. I guess the only other piece of advice as you guys go through, you know, these courses and come out looking for opportunities within the workforce, and some of you may already be working, I'm not sure. I guess the other facet of that is, you know, the curiosity to learn and the excitement in being able to use new technologies. I think that's something over my long years of experience. I've realised that, you know, I did technical development when I first started as a grad, and that was in languages that have far left now, like Power Builder. I don't know if you guys even know what that was. 4GL, it was an object-oriented language anyway. And then moving into, you know, more leadership roles, and then management roles, and then sales roles of selling how we consult and how technology can meet a business benefit. Through that whole spectrum of experiences, you know, the key thing is the willingness to always learn something new, not being scared of not knowing something, and you know, high degree of proactiveness. And I think looking for the next adventure, it's key. I mean, I left IBM and came to Pega because I realised I'd sort of done what I could there, and I really wanted to try something different. And those changes in your career can stimulate, you know, stimulate and excite you for the next phase. And so I just hope that's something you keep with you, that it's looking for that new, and being curious is always really good. Professor, if there's any other questions later, feel free to send them through to me, and I can respond.
Is there any question from anyone? Otherwise, we can close the session. Any question? Last chance, please.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Sonia. Okay. Welcome to give the guest lecture to our students. And thank you very much for your sharing the induction requirement. This is actually what our students need. Actually, I have another, I'm teaching another unit. It is possible I can get the contact from you. I would like to invite you to my student as well.
Oh, I'd love to, Robert. Thank you so much. Professor has my details, so I'm sure Professor can share that as well.
Yeah.
And then we can talk online. Not a problem.
Okay,
appreciate that.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, that's the only question from me. Thank you very much.
Now, what does the Jamie say? Let's just have a quick
look. The Sachini, I can read the Sachini. Sonia, can you see? Otherwise, I
can.
Okay.
So I think the answer to that, and if I've understood it correctly, that AI is used in, my question is data used to learn too. I think what you're referring to is that when a conversation has occurred, there is a opportunity for a feedback loop, right? So when we have that conversation built, we do seek some sort of confirmation and that this has successfully met the intent of the question. And that data we then capture to not only help us with the of tracking how this answer was, but to help us in the longer term of looking at, have we actually built the system to provide the right queries? And this feedback loop. So for the example, last year we built and a slightly different context, but we built an app for the New South Wales Police, and it was an app that helped them give some information readily at the hands of the officers as they went out to meet a person of interest, right, a POI, and it gave them some interesting information around their interactions with the police force previously. It gave some information around other non-analytical factors, so really using, I don't want to say specifically what, but basically using text data to identify some other areas of concern or some awareness that the police should have when they go to meet that individual. And all of that was rendered on an app that's very easy for the police officer to scroll and see. the end of it, each interaction, the officer had to confirm whether the information provided was accurate or not, and some other details. And that was our way of capturing that feedback loop really firmly, right? It can obviously happen in very subtle ways when people are on a website or when they're on a mobile device. As you know, on websites, there's always ways of capturing analytics. You know, IBM had a tea leaf product. There's many out there. And basically through tagging, we can see, oh, they actually went from that field to that field, and then they decided to exit. And you wonder, well, what is it that at that point they decided that this was not where they want to complete the transaction? So all of these things are ways of getting feedback, and that data is then used to teach the system or improve and basically relearn information that can then be utilised for the next either implementation or improvements in the existing system. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for.
Okay, great. No worries. Excellent.
Sonia, you have done a fantastic presentation. I know we don't want to make you more than this if you're tired. I know you are very busy, especially afternoon after very heavy workload. I know how heavy job you are doing. And everyone, please thank to Sonia Rashid for this excellent, super presentation. And
Thanks,
I am
Professor.
sure you all enjoyed this industry-based presentation. Sonia, at Siki University, we design our courses, our units, based on not only theory, mixed mode. It means theory and practice together. We give high importance work placements and also internships. I am not sure if you have an internship space for our students. So I am just asking you now. And also,
I'll have a look. I'll check with my
please,
organization.
okay.
Yes.
And also, we are emphasizing on team working. It means not only technical hard skills we are trying to develop in our teaching and learning. Also, we are enhancing, improving students' soft skills like team working, communication, problem solving, critical thinking. All sort of, I believe that is important. Very briefly, in 1 minute, if you have time, how important this kind of skills to make our students, these students generally term 2, 3, or last semester master IT students. So based on your own 25 experience, how these students can, we do our best as their teachers, but from their own point of view, how they can prepare themselves into the real world work environment.
I think touching on some of the previous points on being really technically adept. So if you're a technical person and you want to work in technology, really where you can get your hands dirty and have that experience, whether it's R, Python in the data science area, whether it's doing Pega trials and getting Pega certification. I literally sat with a course 2 weeks ago we did with Accenture, who's our Pega partner. 14 people from Accenture that were mainly new grads were just sitting the Pega certification. And what that means is straight away that they have that ability to work for organizations such as Pega, but also organizations such as Accenture, Deloitte's, and a lot of our Pega partners. So one is about getting that sort of technical hands-on in the area that you're interested in. And the second is really making sure that, you know, being curious means being across what's happening in the industry. If you have a particular industry that you've worked in or you'd like to focus on, so FSS or telco or, you know, industrial, get yourself across it. So when you're going for that interview or having that discussion or you're starting a job, you've already understood the why. If you remember, I was saying the why. Why is it important for me to build this? Because only then can you really explain it to your customer and say, you know, it's imperative. The end result always becomes not only obviously we want the deal, obviously we want them to buy the software or the services, but we want them to get benefit for it and keep coming back and be long-term customers. And whether that's, you know, being in an IT organization or a bank, it doesn't matter. Your customer is your customer.
Thank you so much. Please,
Thanks,
everyone,
Professor.
please everyone unmute and put your hands together as me.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much for your time, for your efforts, excellent preparation. And I wish we can also, maybe we will invite you next term, maybe next time in different situations.
Happy to.
I hope that after COVID-19, maybe you will come and visit our Sydney campus and provide
That would be
not only
lovely.
just my class, entire campus. And I believe we will continue our collaboration, communication in many different ways.
Thank you,
again.
Professor. I look forward to
Thank
that.
you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye. All the best. Bye bye.
Bye bye.